Good morning, everyone. We're ready to get started. Hello. How wonderful it is to see everyone gathered here this morning for the Wakefield Human Rights Commission's annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Day celebration back in person after years of being virtual. I'm Maureen Budd, I'm the chair of the Town Council, and I'm so happy to see everyone here today. On behalf of my colleagues, Town Administrator Steve Mayo and his team, I welcome you all here today for a program filled with dance and poetry and spoken word. We will learn and be reminded today of how inspirational MLK Jr. and his wife were to all of us as Americans. Today is a federal holiday, and it is also known as a National Day of Service. There are many opportunities to serve today, from donating to the Wakefield Food Pantry to helping in creating public art with the Boys and Girls Club. When I think of MLK Jr. and his family's legacy, I am reminded of his quote, "Everyone can be great because anyone can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love." Thank you all for making the time to show up here today and serve. I especially want to thank the Human Rights Commission and their members. If you're actually a member of the Human Rights Commission, can you just stand up so we can applaud you for putting this together? I'm looking forward to today's event, and I will be your MC, so if you have any questions or comments, come and find me. And with that, I'd like to introduce Eileen Rooney, the chair of the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, for a land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Maureen. The Wakefield Human Rights Commission acknowledges that the land we now call Wakefield are the ancestral homelands of the Massachusetts people who have been the caretakers of the unceded land for centuries and will continue to be for centuries to come. We are settlers. The Massachusetts people have been tirelessly striving for human rights, even in the face of land theft, genocide, and forced removal. The work we do to build a more unified, equal, and diverse community grows out of the efforts, leadership, and guidance of countless Native communities. We commit to honoring this continued Native activism as we do our work. In doing so, we dedicate time in our meetings throughout the year to help educate those in the community about the Native people of Massachusetts, past, present, and their work towards the future. I'd like to introduce our first performance in collaboration with the Wakefield High School Black Student Union. The WHRC is excited to present Origination. Founded in 1994 by artistic director Shamba Yanji Dabinga, Origination is a nonprofit organization that produces innovative and dynamic performing arts programs which motivate, challenge, and inspire youth to be the best they can be. They offer quality dance, theater arts, and African history education. And every year they serve close to 150 young people through their on-site programs and an additional 1,500 youth through their off-site programs. While their programs are open to all youth, they focus their efforts on providing services to young people from Boston's underserved neighborhoods, which include Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan. Origination.
equal transportation,
equal public facilities,
equal voter registration,
and a change in Washington administration.
it's important for us to take a stand.
Unite as one and lend a helping hand.
So rise up for what you believe in
And
let the whole world know that the voice you have is powerful. And together we are in full control.
Getting the spirit in the dark. I'm getting the spirit in the dark. People moving, oh, we're grooving. Just getting the spirit in the dark. With
footsteps of Queen Nefertiti and stand on the shoulders of great women before me. I know I'm a leader, the future of the world, an intelligent young woman and a role model for all girls. Like to know the truth, I know I'm strong. Like Cicely Tyson with complexion so smooth, or like our first lady Michelle Obama, believing all children will be able to feed to me. See, I know I'm the greatest. When I was created, they broke the mold. Congresswoman Anna Preston or Senator Liz Randers were my future home. I'm a black girl who rocks. I set my standards high. Having pride in my stride is the reason I still rise. My voice is also powerful. My ancestors built this nation. Like Venus and Serena Williams, my sisters are my motivation. I am tough beyond limits, more goals than you can imagine. And once I make my dreams come true, at my inauguration, you will be standing. I am a genius, a giver, gifted and gorgeous, gracious as the queens that came before us. I am me. You are me. She is we, and we are one. I stand before you a first lady, and I get the job done.
This that bird, this ain't no perm. This that nappy, this that herb, this that kinfolk, this that skinfolk, this that war, this that bloodline on the front line, ready for war. Where you gonna run? Get it loose, get it low, get it low. Why you get it loose, get it loose, get it low, get it low. Oh, gotta protect my grace, keep it locked in the safe. Don't make me get back to my ways. My power they never take.
Don't never take my power. Don't never take my power. My power. They feel away. Oh wow. They feel away. Oh wow. Don't never take my power. My power. Don't never take my power. My power. They feel away. Oh wow. They feel away. Oh wow.
That was amazing. Can we just give them another round of applause, please? Thank you. Okay, and next we are going to have a reading by I Am, written and read by D'Angelo Townsend, a Woodville Elementary second grader, and D'Angelo's grandmother, Angela Driggers.
I am a leader. I am strong. I am an activist. I am Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
At this time, I ask if there are any students that is in the aisle or in the audience that would like to come and join us on stage. Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream, and in his dream, he dreamed little black boys and little black girls will be able to hold hands with little white boys and little white girls. Today, we thank him for his dream. Thank you. Good job, you guys.
So- Thank you, D'Angelo and D'Angelo's grandmother, for that. So now a couple of you guys are going to come back on stage. We are going to have the Woodville dance performers come up. Just to give everyone a little history, in 2022, the Woodville schools celebrated their students by showcasing their heritage in an evening entitled We Are Woodville. This morning, we are excited to see the Woodville students reprise their dancing skills led by Kelly St. Hilaire from Cadence Dance Studio. And I am going to ask each of these amazing Woodville students to come up and say your name and then get ready to do your dance performance. Does that sound good? Awesome.
I am Andrew Mateo.
Nice.
I am Nicholas Gold. Odaba.
Yay.
I am Isaac Omajola. I am Amara Ujbo. I am Naomi Omajola. I am Sienna Gold. I am Stella Cazal. I am Carolina St. Hilaire.
Did you go? Do you want to go? It's okay.
Alan, you can introduce both of you.
I am Allie Mateo.
And who's that? Oh.
I am Phoebe Omajola.
Hi. Do you want to say no?
I can say it.
Okay.
I can.
Okay. Who's that?
Abby Mateo.
Yay! So thank you, Woodville students, and we are super excited to see your dance performance.
Ready, guys?
ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami.
Good job, guys. All right, stand up, single file, and walk off the stage. Wave to everybody. Wave to everybody. That was great. Can we get another round of applause for the Woodfield dance performance? I think WCAT has to come to the celebration next year and get that on videotape, but thank you so much. Next, I'm inviting some Wakefield students to recite a poem by Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb. So can I be joined on stage by Anya Jacob, Max Jacob, Youth Council Chair Vanessa Westlake, and Galvin Middle School student Benjamin Blackstone.
The Hill We Climb, Amanda Gorman. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished.
We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming a president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose.
To compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze, not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all.
Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we are to live to our time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we made. That is the promise to glade the hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it.
We have seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it. We would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us.
This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception. We did not prepare to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe, now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation because we know that our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation, become the future. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and changes our children's birthright.
So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the golden hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities in the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South.
We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn balloons as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we just get another round of applause for Anya, Max, Vanessa, and Benjamin? And now we're going to have a screening of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream. So thanks to the brilliance of WCAT, we're all going to get to watch it together.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is a faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. Not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Thank you. I will now ask that Human Rights Commissioner member Nicole Jacob join me up here to announce the winner of the coloring and poetry contest.
Wow, that was powerful. So I hope everybody felt the words, because we're still trying to see most of it manifested today. There are still many ways things are being prevented from us all living in an equal society. But I'm so glad to see everybody here today. It's very hard to go after that. But I am honored to award two great things, the poetry contest and our coloring contest. The first one is our poetry winner. He was so great today when he came up on stage and read his poem, I Am, and I would like to invite Dell to come up and receive his award for his poem. Great job, Del. And we have a whole class at the Dolbear School that did a beautiful job with the coloring contest, and so we're awarding the whole class, and that is Miss Courtney Leahy's class at the Dolbear. And she's not here today. But I'll hold her thing up so we can get on WCAT. Congratulations, Miss Leahy's class. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, and congratulations on the award winners. Eileen is going to come and announce the winner, the Community Member Award.
Hi, everyone. So I got the privilege of calling Mrs. Schneider on Friday, and I probably had one of the best conversations that I've had all year. It was fantastic. And so I wanted to talk just really briefly about her and some fun facts that I've literally learned in the past week. I'm so impressed by everything, and every time you speak to her, you learn something else that she's done, so make sure you stop and congratulate her, because she's phenomenal. She calls herself a Wakefield transplant, having moved here from Somerville while she was 8, 9, something like that. I think she's earned the title of saying that you're an official townie here, I would guess. And then her contributions to the community and sort of beyond have been great over the years. So some fun facts. She was a census worker in the Appalachians. She helped to coordinate food and medical care for those that needed it. She was a school psychologist. She worked with children in special education classes in Wakefield. I heard that she sort of started the Moving On program for the elementary school students into middle school. When she found out that there were no Sunday school programs here in Wakefield for children with special needs, she developed that with St. Joseph's and then the church community. She came from a family that voting was really important, so you'll actually see her at a lot of the voting sessions that we have, of course, so make sure you say hello and congratulations. She recently started a women's bowling league, which I would like all of the details for that so that I can come and win, with those that sort of range in age from like their late 20s into retirement age, which is phenomenal. But especially, I just want to welcome Patricia Sensulo Schneider to the stage to accept her award and speak a little bit about her time here.
Well, with that, thank you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Oh, of course.
I feel like I know you. Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for being here, especially the Woodville School. Woodville School has been in my life twice. I attended Woodville School as an 8th grader. The school was where the present Woodville School is, and that was a junior high. So I was there. And then when the Woodville School, the new one, opened up, I had the privilege of being the first school psychologist to, along with staff, be at the Woodville School. So I really want to congratulate all the students at Wakefield and the Woodville School especially. I want to thank the Wakefield Human Rights Commission. for their collaboration with the Wakefield Schools Department and with the origination. What a performance. And coordinating this wonderful ceremony, honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. I would like to thank, in particular, the chair for the commission, Eileen Rooney, and I just met Mahim Butt on the town council and very much involved with this, and any other dignitaries from the town that are here. I want to welcome them. I would like to thank Liz Freeman, who nominated my name to the commission. I was very surprised. I always was one that liked to do and be in the background. But Liz is a friend and colleague. We share the love of children, we share the love of education, and we share the love of this town of Wakefield. We have worked together for many years with Betsy Sheeran and her predecessors, as Eileen has alluded to, during the elections held locally, state, and nationally. I can remember the first election I worked at was with John F. Kennedy's. I was just a mere child at the time, but I remember we have come a long way from working through the night with those boards and those ballots to what we have now, which is modern technology. I would like to thank my son David, who is a special education teacher at the high school level in Gloucester, in the city of Gloucester. He's always been unconditionally my support in anything I've ever done. And I also like to thank my dear friend and our family member, Peggy Canty, for being here. Finally, I'd like to thank all the students of Wakefield and those that are visiting us and their families for sharing their gifts of dance, coloring that we didn't see, but I know I've seen parts of it, and writing and poetry. Expressing their attitudes of love, kindness, peace, and tolerance for the protection of all human rights. It is with gratitude and humility that I accept this award for the community service to the town of Wakefield. Given my age, I would like to view this award in the context of a Lifetime Achievement Award. Martin Luther King Jr. preached inclusion, equality, and the respect for individual rights for all. One quote that resonated with me was a speech he delivered in Montgomery, Alabama in 1957. And I think we all can ask ourselves this. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? In reflection, I was blessed to be able to follow my vocational choice and to have had the opportunity to work with the children and families in the town of Wakefield. I've given over 50 years of service as an educator, administrator, and school psychologist. The attributes of inclusion, equality, respect for individual rights, and the right for equal access to education, while treating all people with love, kindness, is what I aspire to, and I'm proud of many of the accomplishments throughout my time in education. I've had the privilege of working with and collaborating with outstanding administrators, principals, directors, colleagues, parents, and students to develop and implement programs that are inclusive, welcoming, and meet the individual learning, social, and emotional needs of our students. I've collaborated with the development of the special needs pre-K programs, the kindergarten screening programs, the development of anti-bullying programs, development of core values as it translates to a culture of acceptance within our school settings, developing alternative programs at all levels, and in 1975, with the enactment of the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, had the privilege to work in developing programs to service our children in Wakefield with special disabilities, refining team meetings, IEPs, and protocols. When I came to Wakefield, I was a classroom teacher. Believe it or not, I came the month after Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream. At that time, there was no special education. That was 12 years in the making, 1975. However, Wakefield was in the forefront even at that time, and many communities in our state and across the nation, we're looking at the needs of all: access to education and the right to develop. Wakefield already had a wonderful person, the name of Mrs. Eleanor Burke, who had a self-contained program for developmentally delayed students at that time. And I had the privilege of doing some internship with her. I came to Wakefield as a classroom teacher. Prior to that, I had studied at Boston College, and I was also in the right place at the right time. I had entered and did a 4-year undergraduate, but at that time, the state of Massachusetts, though it was still in the 60s, was developing their first special ed certification for all disabilities. And so I applied and attended a graduate program while doing my 4-year undergraduate. I completed a 2-year graduate program at Boston College. So I graduated with 2 degrees, one in education, K through 8, and I had the first state certification for all disabilities: learning, emotional, social, behavioral, because we had not developed more specific categories at that time. So as a classroom teacher, I loved the classroom. It was like having a family for 10 months. But I was also interested in the needs of all our students. So I was accepted into Wakefield's Title I federal grant program. As I said, Wakefield was in the forefront and was still bringing programs to our town. I was accepted as a teacher and a counselor. And I worked in this program. This program identifies students with special with abilities, but they weren't meeting their potential in the classroom. And so we met on Saturdays, giving them individualized tutoring and having an 8-week summer program so that they could develop their self-esteem as a learner. I worked in that program for 5 years, and at the end I was director. And one of my last acts was to write a proposal that would bring the Title I program into a full-year program in Wakefield. And with administrative support, that proposal was accepted. Once in 1975, when the IDEA law was passed federally, my role as a school psychologist gave me the privilege to interact with each student and their families, as well as collaborate with our team to access academically, socially, emotionally, and work with how the team and students could be successful in a setting in school. I treated each student as if they were my child. Chairing the team meetings and being part of the team in developing educational plans was something I aspired to. Working closely with the families and students has lent itself for my continued friendship. My goal in choosing my vocation was to hope I could make a difference in the lives of the children and families I served. I have always been rewarded when a former student I meet or calls me or sends me a card expressing that I did make a difference. I remember I had a 4th grade student, and when he graduated from Suffolk Law, he called me in mid-year, and I had not heard from him in all these years. And he said at his address, the speaker said, "Can you remember a teacher that influenced them the most?" And he said, "I wanted to call to say that was you, and thank you." I was so touched. That's the reward of what education was. I recently met a student who produced the 4th grade report card I had given him. His father had kept him all these years. And with humor, he wanted to know about one of his marks. I tell you, those are the rewards that I have and bring a smile to my face and my heart. I just received a card from one of my students I had, and she said, "You're my dearest teacher, and I'd like to connect with you." So I guess we make a difference in our corner of the world that we deal with. I've done other community services. I was elected to the first parish council at St. Joseph's for religious education back in the 60s again, for public school children, K through 8. And my staff and I were responsible for ensuring the individual needs of all the students were being met. At that time, we knew about different ways of learning, but we had no resources. So I would develop with my staff different modalities in which we could teach the children. It wasn't always to have to be through reading. It could be through visual. It could be through dance, whatever they could do to express that. During that time also, there were developmentally delayed children north of Boston, north of Wakefield, that had no access to receiving the sacraments within my faith tradition, which is the Catholic Church. So I developed a program, a 2-year program, in which they met every weekend, and my staff of 7 individually worked with them. And it culminated in Cardinal Cushion coming out to Wakefield and performing ceremony and mass where 7 students received the sacraments of communion and confirmation. I've had the privilege of working with Liz in our local, state, and national elections since 1960 as a capacity of a teller, clerk, and warden. This is very familiar to me, coming up here and giving things to the town moderator. We've come a long way since 1963. I'd like to talk to the students that are here today. I have a message. It is heartfelt to see all your presentations today supporting Martin Luther King Jr., the legacy of inclusion, not discrimination. We have come a long way since 1963. However, there are times in our world today, discrimination of a person's rights have been violated. I want to share with you another statement Martin Luther King quoted in 1965 in Selma, Alabama. "The time is always right to do the right thing." I want to leave you with that quote. You have the power to make nonviolent social change if you see discrimination or bullying due to how a person looks, appears, their religion, their gender, etc. Do not be a bystander. The time is always right to do the right thing. With a word, with an action, that is how you can continue the legacy for Martin Luther King Jr. I thank you for this award with much humility. Thank you. Oh, this is wonderful. I will cherish this. I'll take the clip. Oh, you're going to take this one? You get every, oh, I get everything. Oh, there you go. You get my other thing too? Okay. Thank you.
Can we get another round of applause? Patricia, I just wanted to let you know, you might call it a Lifetime Achievement Award, but we're not letting you go away. You're going to continue helping make Wakefield a better community. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, I get to give the next award. The annual HRC local community organization this year is the Sweetser Lecture Series. I'm going to say a little bit about the organization, and then I think I've got some members from the group if you want to start working your way up to the stage as I talk. So in 1881, Cornelius Sweetser left $10,000 to the town of Wakefield to be held in trust to provide such lectures as will tend to improve and elevate the public mind, and to pay the proceeds to such charitable organizations as the municipal officers may designate to be distributed among the worthy poor. Over the years, the Sweetser series has focused on diversifying their talks, and 2022 was no different. This season's lectures, held at the Savings Bank Theater at the high school, covered the Voyage of Mercy, America's effort to save the Irish during the Great Famine, with Stephen Puleo, Living a Healthier Life with author Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, and most recently a talk from Kate Clifford Larson, PhD, about her book, Soaring Spirits for Freedom, Harriet Tubman and Fannie Lou Hamer. The WHRC looks forward to seeing their events in the future. Please join me in welcoming the board of the Sweetser Lecture Series to receive this award. Well, thank you very much.
I sort of pressured them like last moment, like which one of you would like to speak? And they were like, please don't. I get it. So finally, I just want to thank a whole bunch of people, and then I'd actually like to invite some members of the Boys and Girls Club to come on up as well. But the individuals that were on our subcommittee this year, Teresa Aravena, Nicole Jacob, Janice Marabasi, Liz Freeman for nominating such fantastic people in the community as well. Barbara Worley, who's been a fantastic help with WCAT. I can't thank her enough for all of the things that she's done. WCAT as a whole, Ryan Boyd, thank you all for doing that. The DPW, which we totally texted at like 7 this morning and was like, please plow. And they were awesome, and the school and all the parents for being here as well and bringing your kids and participating, and it's been such a great event. So finally, I'd like to invite Evan Reppert up to come and talk about sort of the Stone and Wakefield Boys and Girls Club. Specifically, we're going to be doing a day of service on Saturday, February 4th. A little different this year. We're going to do it a little bit in the future. We're going to be painting a mural. On your way out, there are sign-up sheets if you're interested. There's also a QR code. If you are in a hurry, you just want to scan it and do it in the car, you're welcome to do that too. And then you can also email the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, and we can add you to the list and send out more details. But in the meantime, I'll invite Evan up to talk.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the Human Rights Commission of Wakefield for allowing us to be the recipient of this wonderful time to come in. In his speech, Dr. King talked about the table of brotherhood and people sitting together at the table of brotherhood. And I'd like you to think that that table doesn't have to look like a dinner table. That table could look like some piano keys. That table could look like a table with a bunch of art supplies on it. Heck, it could even look like a 3D printer bed. And that's what we're trying to create over here at the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club, a space where any kid can walk in and find a passion that they can link onto. With our commitment to inclusion and creating inclusive spaces, consistently working to hear more voices from our community and to have kids input what they want for the space, we've been able to build that. Through the last several weeks, we've been having fantastic conversations about what it means to create an inclusive space, for what it means to have kids feel comfortable and feel welcome in a space. And the kids have been speaking up, and the kids have been making sure that this is a place where everyone is welcome. They've been working really hard to design a mural to represent that goal and that vision that they have for an inclusive and wonderful space. And it's our honor to invite you, our Wakefield public, into our club to help us make that mural a reality. It's with signage like that in our messaging that we can inspire kids to help join in Dr. King's speech with his dream for a bright future. So we look forward to seeing as many of you as hope to join us there for a wonderful day of painting and helping support this town. Thank you very much.
So again, I just wanted to thank everyone for the presentation today. In closing, I want to remind you that the WHRC, we meet every third Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It's typically by Zoom. Everyone is welcome. We love seeing people. Join the Zoom. We do a little fun fact in the beginning, but we'd love to have more community members to get involved in the future. So just to close, I wanted to remind everyone that the Wakefield Human Rights Commission's mission is to promote the civil and human rights of all people in Wakefield. The goal is to reinforce positive relationships in the community and to create educational programs to foster greater understanding and appreciation of diversity. We invite you to help to share in Dr. King's sentiments of creating a beloved community mindset. Thanks everyone for coming, and don't forget to sign up for the day of service on your way out. Okay, bye.